Now that we're having a baby, I, F23, am realizing that my husband, M29, might not be a good husband and father. Ever since I got pregnant, my husband has been a different man. He's been wanting more sex, but at the same time is becoming more and more distant from me and the kids. It's like sex is the only reason he acknowledges me, but it's not the sweet loving sex anymore either. He's been rougher even though I'm 33 weeks pregnant and more tired. Me saying that I don't want to have sex just creates fights. Every time I say something, I get reminded that I don't work and he makes all the money. Which is true, but at the same time he's the one who asked me to quit my job since I wasn't making that much anyway and just stay home with the kids. 4-year-old twins he had in a previous relationship and got full custody of, to avoid daycare bills. He used to be so caring with the kids and now he ignores them. If he's in the middle of trying to have sex, he won't care if the kids are crying outside of the room and just keeps doing his thing even when I ask him to stop so I can go check on them. And when he's not wanting sex, he just goes to the basement to play video games and watch TV, but then will yell if food is not ready or the house isn't clean. He won't help feeding or bathing the kids or even just cleaning. We've been together for 3 years total and I don't understand why he's changing now that we're going to have a baby. He scares me sometimes and I don't know if I really want to raise a baby with him anymore. Any advice? From your description it sounds like it will be more pleasant to be a single mother than staying with your husband. You'll be doing all the work anyway. I'm really thinking about it honestly. He scares me sometimes. Please listen to your intuition. So you two get married, then he tells you to quit your job for financial reasons, leaving you with no income, since it sounds like he feels all the money is his. Then he tells you you two should have a baby, which is a big commitment, often locks people into a relationship, and requires money which he has, and you don't. Then, once you're pregnant, fully locked into this relationship, and lacking resources to leave, he starts to get selfish, demanding, and mean. Am I on track so far? You're his nanny and plaything, nothing more. He isn't going to talk about your issues because he doesn't care about your issues. When he got you pregnant, he secured childcare for his other kids. I would start putting money aside as a backup plan so you can get out. Suspicions: my 30/F sister is being catfished/trafficked or something more sinister. My sister has supposedly met a guy via online dating and met him in person a grand total of 2 to 3 times. The guy is meant to be a millionaire with penthouses and such, but anytime arrangements are made for them to meet he always comes up with an excuse and never meets my sister. He has been ill, in hospital, stuck in traffic, staying an extra night in a hotel, etc. These are all excuses that have been used so far. Now, the part I find very sinister is my sister has been meeting up with the guy's so-called sister, when she should actually be meeting with the boyfriend, but he cancels last minute, so my sister apparently drives around town with the sister and never meets the boyfriend. The sister was meant to take my sister to his penthouse one day, but she got lost and didn't know how to find the place, so they never ended up going. Now why on earth wouldn't you just call the boyfriend and ask for the address? And more importantly, if you are the sister, you should surely know where your own brother stays in his penthouse. There is something not sitting right with me. My mum has tried to speak with my sister, but she becomes defensive and can't see the valid points we are making. I'm just highly concerned something is going on, i.e. catfishing for monetary reasons, sex trafficking, or something even worse. My sister is a very good looking 30F with blonde hair. She gets a lot of looks, so I'm even more suspicious. Edit: I should also point out this so-called guy wants to marry her. It's only been a few weeks, and my sister has told us she has physically met this guy in person, but something seems bizarre that he continues to make excuse after excuse and meets with the sister instead. if I was dating somebody I would want to spend my time with them and not their sibling. Update the 31st of December 2020, hi everyone, I was blown away by the amount of responses to this very serious matter and I am humbled at all of the suggestions etc. I'd just like to update everyone on the current situation. I had mentioned I would like to speak with my sister after the new year to make sure she is safe and all is well with this new boyfriend. Instead I got a barrage of hate and anger back from my sister and she has told me to piss off along with everyone else who has been asking questions about this new relationship. She has become so defensive and has fell out with her best friend, now me, my mum and anyone else who cares enough to ask questions. She has failed to see any red flags and instead told us all to butt out of her life and not worry about her. She said she is perfectly happy and the only thing bothering her is all the people asking questions about this relationship, i.e. the people who care for her the most. She can't see that we actually do care and instead sees us all as a burden in her life who are attacking her. The reality is she is the one who cannot see the red flags. Whether this is due to being love blind or something else I'll never know. I mentioned to her some of the signs I have seen, such as rushing into a marriage, not being able to locate his own penthouse, always flaking on plans last minute, always meeting the sister in place of him etc. But she just became super defensive and told us to mind our business. I am beyond stumped at how stupid my sister can be. It is blatantly obvious you have an issue and you are the problem when family and friends are approaching you with the same concerns. Instead we have been shunted to the side and told to stay out of her business. So on that note I am clueless as to what to do next. Of course I am still very uneasy at the whole situation because we know nothing more of this mysterious so-called boyfriend. In addition, check if they've actually spoken on the phone or even better, video called. He could be a completely fictional character. If possible, reverse image search his photos too. 100% the scammer isn't millionaire looking for a date, that's for sure. The thing is, she has told us she has met him in person a couple of times. But it still seems bizarre that he will make excuse after excuse that he can't meet up and instead she meets with the so-called sister. If I was dating someone I would want to spend my time with them and not their sibling. I would tone down your suspicions when I talk to her. Don't tell her you think he's human trafficking or doing something sinister. She thinks you are suspicious of her boyfriend, so she isn't opening up to you. I know I'll get downvoted, but maybe you could feign support in favor of getting more qualifying details. Either way, hire a private investigator. She shouldn't even be meeting up with the sibling if this is a real threat. They could be drugging her. She could be lying about having met him in order to throw suspicion off of him / trying to defend him. Vastly different situation, but for example I met my ex online and started a long-distance relationship with him. When my parents found out, they were super suspicious, so I lied about having met him in person to throw any suspicion off. When stories like this come up, it's very possible the catfish is the girl that your sister is spending time with. As for having actually met the guy, that can also be attributed to some guy being a friend of the girl who is willing to help the scam, or a group of catfishing people who work together to allay suspicions while continuing to scam the victim, prepare for possible abduction for sex trafficking, etc. An example would be that rather than actually abduct and create a law enforcement situation less than 24 hours later, they just need to get her to trust them and she willingly goes with them to some other undisclosed location / country. You all think she's on vacation in some other place while she's now in trouble, and you don't initiate anything until some future time when you finally realize something's not right. You can't get in touch with her, you don't know where she is, etc. You should instead focus on educating your sister how these scams typically work. Does she have a passport? Does she know that she should never give it to another person if she's traveling for any reason? Does she know which countries are safe for women to travel to? Does she have any protective instincts you could try to trigger instead of outright saying, hey, it seems like you're being tricked? Whatever this is, it got all the signs of a classical con. You have a sister relation, someone the target, your sister, can relate to. Maybe something like I am a woman and she is a woman. We are both in proximity to this guy and she is safe, ergo I am safe. The wealth, penthouses, he being a millionaire, grand and flashy proof of wealth. This can be used for monetary scams. The grooming, gaslighting and forced to accept a certain normal. The guy is rarely available, and your sister gets used to driving around town with the relation, his sister, fruitlessly. Future promises, marriage, happy life. This ties into the grandiose displays of wealth, and it plays on the target's greed or selfishness. If I marry this guy, I will have his wealth too. With some assumptions and deductions, this is most likely a monetary con. The sister will arrange for travel to somewhere, and your sister will have to cover for the journey to get there. Meet me Australia so we can get married. I'll pay you back the 3k USD ticket. Just give the money to my sister and she will arrange everything. Then she never hears from either of them again. Worst case, same as above but with sex trafficking or organ theft and your sister ends up trapped abroad somewhere. Not really likely though. Just found out my boyfriend has been paying Camgirls since we've been together. I just found out that my current boyfriend pays Camgirls to watch him masturbate and vice versa. We had talked about his interest in Camgirls in the past but I was fully under the impression that this habit had ceased since we had gotten together and our relationship had become quite serious. It never bothered me that he did it before because it was when he was single and I think that's totally acceptable. I have no issue with him masturbating or looking at porn but for some reason it deeply upsets me that he seeks out specific women to pay and have one-on-one time with over a camera and he also allows them to watch him. I have no idea the frequency, but he said he does it whenever we are fighting, he feels lonely, or whenever he is bored. Which I suspect means pretty often but I have no idea. It came up this morning that he still engages in this behavior and has since we've been together and he said he thought I knew and that I was fine with it. He said I should be thankful that he's so upfront about it and doesn't try to hide it from me. Maybe he genuinely thought I knew and was okay with it, but upon seeing my reaction and how hurt I was when I found out he still does it, I feel like he should have been less defensive and angry with me and understood that maybe we weren't on the same page and I feel hurt by this. Possibly even apologetic. When I asked him how he would feel if the roles were reversed he said that girls don't get off in the same ways so you can't compare. He called me jealous and said that I was being emotional and overreacting. The more upset I became, the angrier he got until I asked him to leave and said I don't want to see him anymore and that we need time apart. To me, this would be the same as if I was arranging mutual masturbation over the internet with random men and also paying for it. I am upset and needing space away from him and considering ending the relationship. Knowing his extremely defensive personality, I worry that trying to communicate on this will just result in him lying to me and withholding facts. How should I approach this? He called me jealous and said that I was being emotional and overreacting. The more upset I became, the angrier he got until I asked him to leave and said I don't want to see him anymore and that we need time apart. Make that permanent. Not necessarily because of the cam girls, though that's problematic in itself. He doesn't give a damn about your feelings, and that's much more of a concern. To me, this would be the same as if I was arranging mutual masturbation over the internet with random men and also paying for it. Pretty much. I dated a dude who did this and it never got better even though he said he would stop. He openly had a porn addiction and I dealt with it for 4 years. The amount of resentment I have towards him is insurmountable even though we are not together anymore. Looking back, I wish I just would have left. I think if we replace the topic masturbating with cam girls with any other topic, it still boils down to my boyfriend did something that deeply upsets and hurts me. Instead of listening to me and talking it through and coming to a compromise, he told me I was overreacting and I should get over it. The subject doesn't matter to me, it's how dismissive he was of your feelings. That's shitty.